What's going on, YouTube? You're tuned in to the No Level Cap podcast. And this week, we're getting spicy because we're tackling a big question. Is anime political? Let's find out.
Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the No Level Cap podcast with all your friendly neighborhood black nerds, where we cover all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture stuff with absolutely zero of the BS, or a tiny bit of the BS this Monday morning. I am your host, Sage Ashford. These are my co-hosts, Devin Butts, Terrence Flowers, Will Coleman. Like Terrence said, we are getting into a discussion on how anime is political often. This discussion has been online. It's been kind of everywhere lately. You know, you've got some big anime talking heads, I guess you could say, or content creators, if you prefer, talking about like whether or not anime is political, or, oh man, y'all just thinking too hard, or, another phrase that we are going to dive into later, oh man, it's not that deep, all that type of stuff. And so I want to kick it off by asking, why are people afraid of admitting that anime often is and can be political? Terrence.
Oh, man. This is definitely a big discussion, so got to put our big boy pants on for it. So first off, I'm going to address it like this. Let's talk about what is politics, or what are politics? What's the definition of politics? I think a lot of times people just hear politics and they think they know what it means, but not really. It's just that we've heard politics so much that it's just a buzzword and we instantly know how we feel about it or don't feel about it. So I looked it up, and here's how the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines this. Yes, I'm going to the dictionary definition, so none of you all can be like, oh, you just made this up. No, you can go online. You can look straight at this yourself. It defines it as the art or science of government. It can also be defined as the art or science concerned with guiding or influential government policy, or the total complex relations between people living in society. And as you can see,
that's politics, that last one. That's the key one right there.
That pretty much is, like the relations between people living in society. That's the reason why I included that, because is not just about government. It's about society as a whole. And honestly, the reason why people don't want to admit anime is political is politics in of itself is almost inherently divisive. It's one of those things where you have to get a lot of people, you're trying to get most people on one accord. And let's be real, if you have a group of like 10 people, not all of them are going to agree on one thing, let alone us talking about like millions or even billions of people agreeing on one thing. That's why you have different countries, different continents, villages, towns, city, etc. Just because all those places have different policies, philosophies, and how they go about doing things. So what you may experience in like Texas is different than what you're going to experience in California or New York, Idaho, Michigan, Florida, etc. So yeah, the real reason why people don't want to talk about politics and anime is, like I said, it is divisive. And also, people want to escape reality, which I get it. But here's the thing. Escaping reality, or at least using anime as an escape from reality, that's a privilege in and of itself. The fact that, you can just take your head and bury it in the sand and not have to worry about the problems of the world and think just anime is a way to escape from that. That's just not it. And also, let's just get into it. Like, can there be political themes in anime? Absolutely. Not all anime is political, of course. Something like Bocchi the Rock, that's not political. It's a comedy anime. It's not going to have political themes going on in there. Is it maybe a commentary on how social awkwardness can affect people? Sure, but it's not like inherently a political thing. But some of the most popular anime, they have political themes to them. And I'm just going to quickly just go through a few just to give you all examples. Naruto. Naruto is one of the most popular shonen anime of all time. You literally have the Kage of each village. They are the leaders of those villages. That's how a government is. A government has a leader, and there's different factions of the government that helps run those villages. The fourth Hokage making the decision to wipe out the Uchiha clan, that was literally a political move to avoid the Uchiha clan revolting. That's politics. Like, there's no way to avoid that in Naruto.
The whole discussion about the cycle of violence, all of that is still, it's wrapped up in politics, and that's like that is the key theme of Naruto.
So, yeah, it's the whole reason why Sasuke goes on a tirade of revenge. Yeah, and then you find out like what really happened with his brother and everything. There is a lot of political intrigue in anime. It's not just an anime about ninjas doing cool ninja things. I mean, the fact that they have whole wars that they go into, the end of Naruto Shippuden is an arc about war. How political? Like, that's like the epitome of politics right there. But just moving on. My Hero Academia. In the world of My Hero, the heroes work alongside law enforcement and the government to uphold justice in the world. And in later seasons, because of actions that I won't get into just due to spoilers, you have people questioning the heroes and their motives, like whether the heroes are doing enough to protect the people. They question like the heroes' place in society. It's not, it is political, but it's like, I wouldn't say in the same.
Actually, it's super political because like even the concept of the symbol of peace, that in itself is like, it's meant to be, and they don't say it, but they say it, that it's meant to be a pacifying element for all of society, that you have this one powerful symbol of peace that just stands there and it's like defending the status quo.
You're right. I'm actually glad you chimed in on that. My Hero is inherently political. A popular anime that came out this year, Gachi Akata. The people, the top side, is literally the upper class, which are the rich, dumping their trash and acting like they're better than people who live in the pits. Is literally the rich versus the poor. Like, that is a societal struggle. Who set that in place? The government of that world. So that anime has politics. Something like Dr. Stone is literally a battle of political ideology. You have Senku fighting for a society of science and Tsukasa fighting for a society of strength. And, there's things along the way where they try to establish different structures within that world to see who is ultimately going to win the position to create the world that they want. And just lastly, Full Metal Alchemist. I mean, come on, man. You have the state alchemists who literally work for the government. The state alchemists go to war in a genocide against the Ishbalans. The whole point of Maze Hughes getting killed in the show is because he found out what the government was really up to, and they made the political move to get him out of the way so he couldn't talk and unveil everything. What more do I need to say? Like, if you think something like Full Metal Alchemist, which is considered arguably the most beloved anime of all time, isn't political, you're just sticking your head in the sand. So like, as you can see, even some of the most acclaimed and popular series in anime, they address politics, and they do it well too. Like all the shows I mentioned, they have politics going on, and you can also see the parallels between the commentary they're making in the show versus what goes on in reality. And so I can understand why people are afraid of admitting that anime is political. Because like I said, politics in and of itself is inherently divisive, but doing so ignores the reality of what the author was ultimately setting out to do in terms of like the world they're creating, the commentary, like all the imagination, not just action and explosions and like cool characters and whatnot going on. They literally were trying to say something with their art. And I think that it does a disservice to them to ignore that part of it and just focus on like the action and the elements that aren't as inherently divisive. I mean, you don't have to be like huge into politics to admit that anime is political. That's just the way that I see it.
One of the answers I'll say for the next question, but I think a lot of the reason people are afraid of admitting the anime is political is because they are afraid that their politics won't align with what they're watching, or they
Too.
know that their politics do not align with what they're watching. And oftentimes they can even be portrayed as the bad guys. And then the other answer, and Terrence got into some of this, is that people are just cowardly and they're just trying to run away from the real world as much as possible. And even, like you said, Terrence, even just the ability to do that is in itself a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to close your eyes to like some of the political things happening around you. And some people can't do that. In fact, a lot of people, and more every day, for reasons that we not necessarily going to get into today, more and more every day, there are fewer people that can avoid politics and avoid talking about it because it's so in your face. Right. And what's wild is Will talked about this in the chat. One of the most popular genres out here, y'all's most popular genre, isekai, that's political as fuck.
For sure.
You know, it's full of all the political elements. You set up all these kingdoms and how they interact with each other, and it's like, yeah, that's part of world building in that universe has to involve politics. It's more than just, oh man, I voted for this person or I didn't vote for that person. And really, like, even you got to think about how things get created, because like the way that isekai has switched up from what it was in the 90s to what it is now is super fucking political for like people in Japan. Like when it was in the 90s and you had anime like Fushigi Yugi or Vision of Escaflowne or Magic Knight Rayearth, like all those anime, like the way that those shows were, the characters would go to this other world and they would be scared and afraid and they didn't know what was going on. And even when they got powers, it was like, cool, I got these powers, but how am I going to use these powers to try and help myself get back home? And if I got to help this world to do so, cool. But ultimately, I just want to go back home. I'm scared. Like I'm in a place that I don't know nothing about and I'm trying to get back to where I came from. And that's not the way that we tell isekai stories or the way the anime tells isekai stories now. The way they tell them now is, hey, man, I went over to this alternate world and everything's so much better here than it is in society. Everything is so much easier over here. I have all this power. I have people not trying to take advantage of me. I have people that care about me here. Like all of that, like you got to think about, why do they create so many anime like that now? And the answer is because like so many people over there are wishing for some level of escapism because society has gotten so bad. It's gotten so oppressive. Like even anime where you like, this isn't political at all, but like, it's like actually like once you like really think about it for more than 2 seconds, you're like, oh wait, actually, no, this is super kind of political. Is this isekai anime called I've Been Killing Slimes for 300 years and I finally maxed out my level. It's a stupid title, right? But the plot of it is like this office lady who works herself to death. She works herself into a grave. And in the next world, she's like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be able to take it easy and not have to live, like, not have to break myself physically and spiritually trying to do a job. Like that one's right. That's like right there. That's like telling you something like, okay, that's how a lot of people over there see their job. And then there's another anime that talks about jobs that I'm sure Devin gonna bring up, where it's a different type of world that they would rather live in than live in our world. I'm sure Devin will bring that one up. But yeah, like that's the type of stuff. Like you look at all these isekai now, and it's about a power fantasy. And then there's something to be said about the fact that like back in the day, isekai was decidedly aimed at a completely different demographic. And now like it was aimed at like a lot of young women.
Yeah.
And you know, you could like, it was possible for you to watch Magic Knight Rayearth as a guy. It was possible for you to watch Fushigi Yugi as a guy, but those shows were about women and they were focused on women and they primarily aimed at women. And now all the isekai are aimed at men for the most part. Even some of the ones that have like female protagonists, the way that they draw the female characters, the way that some of the other female characters act, that shit is all about male gaze and bringing dudes in and shit like that. And so like that's a political choice. Like that's a choice that you made to try to appeal to a specific audience so that you could make more money, because you decided that one audience was more valuable than another one. And society goes in, like when you talk about like, oh, how we relate to one another in a society, which Terrence brought that up as like a definition of politics. Like that's where that comes from. You like, oh, this is more value. Like this group is more valuable to market towards. And so we gonna market towards them. And you gave up on a whole other demographic. So that right there should tell you something. So yeah, I mean like that, what it comes down to is that most people are just They trying to use this shit as escapism. And I mean, like, you know what? If you want to escape, that's fine. But what you can't do is look at something and say that what you seeing in front of you is not what's happening. Like this shit, because what kicked this off in the first place was when one particular content creator was like, One Piece not really political like that. And I'm like, bitch, I don't even watch One Piece, but like this nigga Luffy is rebelling against the world government. Like, what do you think that's about? Like, you can't just say that that's not political. That's you basically saying you watch the show with your eyes closed. So I don't understand how
they want to watch Luffy go stretch.
That's it.
Well, he's stretching to punch a dictator in the face most of the time. So like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Devin, what about you, man? Why you think people are afraid of admitting anime is political?
I would actually, my answer was very similar to Terrence's. The fact that it's like it's a form of escape, and I get it. Like Terrence mentioned, politics is probably one of the most volatile subjects you can bring up, like politics, religions, which they kind of tie together. Yeah, they go hand in hand. Yeah. So I get it, and especially in 2025, currently in the political environment that we're in now, it's like really volatile on a lot of aspects. So I get it. People are like, I just want to leave my anime to something that I enjoy, and just I want to leave all this extra stuff out of it. And I get that, but that's a fair thought for some people. But at the same time, like the more you watch anime, if you watch anime for so long, you watch a lot of it, you realize that most of them, you look at them, you can't escape it. Some of them, like it just, or I think also some people might be afraid that because they watch an anime and it's so closely related to what's going on in real life, they're like, dang, this is like almost exactly what's going on. You know, certain things that are happening, or like something you might have experienced personally, or something in the news that might have came up like that. This is in an anime, but this relates heavily to this. So I think also that's the thing. Like sometimes you're just afraid that like it hits so close to home that it's like, man, like it's kind of wild. But yeah, I mean, you really can't escape because there's so many anime that are political. Specifically, One Piece. To say One Piece is not political, to me that's a very uneducated response. Like answer, like it's probably one of the most political current anime that's still going. Like Sage just mentioned, he's literally fighting the 5 emperors, the top of the world government, literally. And that's all Luffy has been doing. He's a pirate, first of all. He's been fighting against the freaking admirals, which is just like the Navy. Like, it's nothing but politics in One Piece, literally. Like the first like few episodes, they go to this guy. He's trying to like take advantage of this rich girl because she's got money. He's also a pirate. It's like, I'm trying to, the poor eat the rich. You out here got all this money. We want to take it. That's part of politics. Like with classism and like we mentioned, like Terrence mentioned the definition. It's like it has something to do with society too, just how we live and engage with each other at the same time. Even like the famous scene of Luffy punching the celestial dragon. That's like these people that think they're like Terrence mentioned about Gachikata, how they think they're just literally better than everybody else in the world just because they are born into this and they have this wealth. Even though Flamingo, this man, like he grew up in wealth and like they thought they were better than other human beings just because they existed. That's part of real life. Some people feel like their status and what they have makes them better. And that's part of classes. That's part of politics in the world that we live in the real world. So yeah, that's One Piece is you say I honestly, you might have watched it with your eyes closed. You just didn't watch it all because that's wild. I had a list of anime that I was thinking about. My Hero, Terrence, I was like, yep, My Hero's definitely political. A new one, To Be Hero X, is political.
Yeah,
but how they
so political.
Like how they bump up these people and like literally based on their ratings and stuff. They are more powerful. And you find
out they manipulate it behind the scenes, so it's just like
It's like, I mean, Terrence mentioned Naruto, literally the Hokages. They literally have Mount Rushmore of the Hokages. Like literally,
they do.
So I mean, it's so many anime. Hunter is a little put Bleach. I had Bleach.
A whole holy war happening in the current arc right now.
Yeah, you got different captains. You got the top of the top was Yamato. You got all this going on. You got the people that go down beneath, the lieutenants, the vice captains.
The way they handle Soul Society, like if you don't have a certain amount of spiritual pressure, they put you basically in the ghetto. and then like your life is worthless. Like as you saw in I think it's the first season of Thousand Year Blood War, where it's like, wow, all these people missing, and it's like, yeah, because somebody just like erased them.
Yeah,
they were considered worthless. And the stuff that the Quincy's was doing, they was like, we got to balance this out, got to balance the souls out from the afterlife and the real world. So we just had to erase some people. And who did they choose to erase? They chose to erase like the poorest people. So like,
Attack on Titan is another very political anime, like heavily political.
Yeah,
Like so, I get it. Like you might think, well, I don't necessarily want to say that. Like, nah, this is just the story. But I mean, like, art imitates life, so it's gonna be like you can't say these things aren't political. There's definitely people that have written like stories that were like for the purpose. Oda definitely, I'm sure he was like that was deliberate what he's doing with that story. Like this is just like a play like on politics, showing what happens and what's going on when somebody revolts against the government. All this, the powers literally doing that. And then you look at sometimes the powers ain't really even the bad guys. It's like the you look at the admirals, it's like you looking at them kind of side out, like what's going on here? Same way with reality. Sometimes the people that you think should be protecting, sometimes they be the ones like kind of sketchy. That's literally a direct reference to politics. You even got something like Mashal. As goofy as Mashal is, as goofy as One Punch Man is, they both have like political elements. Literally, Mashal is a black mark on society because he didn't have magic. And if you didn't have magic in that world, people looked at you as less.
Not just looked at you as less, they wanted you. You weren't supposed to exist. Like
yeah.
Mash himself is supposed to be dead. He was supposed to die as a baby.
Like even certain interactions with like in the school when he got there, like, oh, these are like the more talented kids, and then like he goes up against the vice principal and puts him in the ground. He's like, hey bro, you come out to me, I'm gonna put you in this hole again. But he was trying to like pull some strings and finagle some stuff. He's like, I'm gonna have you this and that. It's like, no, you won't, because if you try, I'm gonna put you in a hole. So you can do it if you want to. Even one that's anime that's just about hands, and y'all probably know what I'm talking about. Mostly hands. Hands screaming the energy blast. Dragon Ball Z. I thought about it. I'm like, Vegeta.
Toriyama tried to rip that show down to the studs to where it's like there's really no development of a wider world. It's just Goku and the gang versus the villains. But even then, like Frieza was a galactic crook.
Yeah.
The Saiyans went to eliminate indigenous people off one planet to sell to another group of people. Zamasu was a god that wanted to commit omnicide. He was like, hey man, all these mortals, they gotta go. It's like,
like, and I thought about it, Vegeta. I am the prince of all. Every chance he got early on, he's like, I'm letting you know who I got money. You poor, you broke. Goku, you low class warrior. Like every chance he got.
Then you look who he married.
Married rich woman.
Richest woman on the planet.
That's he basically like married a rich woman that basically was ahead of all the advanced tech. Like, hey man, I got the scoop, man. So I don't know. I guess like I said, I think it's just people like to keep that separate. They like to escape. It's just like games, and games the same way. Games are political, so you can't really escape it either way. You just enjoy it. You take it for what it is, and you understand like these things are kind of a mirror to like real life. And some of the stuff you just got to accept it. You understand like this is what's happening. And a lot of time people are just maybe trying to bring awareness to it. If they put it in their stories with games or anime, they're just trying to bring more awareness, like, pay attention to this a little more. But it's definitely there. You can't escape it. It's there.
All right, what about you, Will? What do you think, man? Why are people afraid of bringing up like anime being political? Why are they afraid of it?
Honestly, my answer is practically just about the same as all of y'all's. It's the escapism. And coming from me, I do understand that you don't want to see this real life thing be presented in your media and your other types of like animated media or even your like video games. You don't want to see that there because you just like, I see enough of it on social media, TV. I hear it over these commercials, see this, that, and the third. I see these things. I get it. This is what's happening. I don't want to see it when I go here. But I hate to see that type of escapism when you find yourself watching these shows, just as y'all mentioned, the One Pieces, the AOTs, the My Heroes, the To Be Heroes, all of that. When they go and watch this stuff, leave it and just be like, man, that was a great show. The action scenes were great. And that's where they leave it at. And I'm just sitting there like, what else happened there because you and I watched the same show. I saw what happened in this moment here, and I compared it to something that just happened in real life. and you're gonna just skip past that and not say nothing about it. I know I'm kind of probably sliding a little taste into the second question. I apologize for that, but it's the escapism. That's what it is. People don't want to deal with their real life in their media. And like Devin mentioned in video games, hell, it's funny because we just got a game brought back to us almost 20 years later that's pretty much kind of hitting the nail on the head right now called Final Fantasy Tactics, the Evil East Chronicles. We got that. If you want to talk a little bit more on gaming, because I want to throw that in here because I'm a big gamer and I do love my anime, but I didn't bring too many examples today. I got Unicorn Overlord. That's one of them.
Yeah.
Last year,
the whole Metal Gear Solid franchise.
Oh,
ooh,
I was going to bring that up.
Definitely.
Oh God, Kojima
and they just came out with the remake of the third one. So I mean,
yeah, and Kojima was in his bag, especially for a game that came out in 2001 on the PS2, Metal Gear Solid: Sons of Liberty. If you watch them last couple cutscenes and you think about today, you gonna swear that man had a time machine.
Yeah, he was cooking.
He was cooking back in 2001. And another one that came out last year, because last year was an election year.
Metaphor
ReFantazio.
Yep.
Yeah. So go play those games and really sit down with them. When you see the stuff that they do, you're going to be like, all right, I ain't know they was doing all this.
I mean, if we being honest, the biggest game series, well, one of the biggest game series in the world is hella political. And it just be propaganda every damn year, and people just eat it up and just they turn their brain off. They be like, "Oh man, it's just
Call of Duty, Black Ops,
just a little shooty bang." That's all it is. Like, no, bitch, it's hella American propaganda in this shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Hey, whoa! It ain't that deep.
well,
you know what? Let's go there.
We might as well start there. Terrence did have a question. He was like, what do you think about people that say it ain't that deep in response to like anime or like politics of anime or like any type of intellectual discussion with anime? Like, what do y'all think about people who always say it ain't that deep? And Will, since you going, you might as well continue on.
Okay, so when I hear people say it ain't that deep, a lot of times it's like I said, it's still the escapism, but it's also a case of I don't want to talk about that. It's just like I don't feel like talking about it. It ain't that deep to me. I just want to call it a day. I want to get it in, be done. I ain't gonna talk about all the extra stuff. I don't feel like analyzing. I don't feel like critical thinking. Let's not go that far into the bucket with this. It's just characters, lines, and color on paper in a moving motion. Why are we going this far about it? Well, if that's what you think, then apparently this show didn't have a story to present you. All you saw was hands, feet, fast motion, blur, speed lines, and that's it. That's all you saw. You didn't sit down and watch the same show that I did. You sat there and told yourself, yeah, this is a great show. It got great action and great speed and great voice acting. Come watch it. That's all you said. And then that is
how some people, engage with their shit.
I mean, and look, and I ain't mad at you. Engage in it that way. But when I kind of want to get a little in there, I ain't saying you got to join me in there. Hear me out. Hear me out right there. I ain't telling you got to be the most comprehensive understanding. I'm not trying to make you a genius, or I'm not trying to force you, but just understand that there's a message being given in a lot of these shows that are being made. None of this stuff is just woohoo. And it's like you said earlier, in Japan, a lot of that stuff is based on the society that they have going on. Like you talked about the the slime isekai anime, right?
Yeah, I've been killing slimes for 300 years.
Right. That I've been killing slime for 300 years, and you said that woman worked herself into a grave. That's a real deal fucking issue they got going on over there, where people
right now they got the new the new prime minister, and she was like, "Look, ain't no work-life balance. It's just work. I don't believe in nothing else but work." I'm like, yeah, you gonna spawn a whole nother generation of people creating nothing but isekai.
Yeah, and I swear isekai finna have a foothold for another 15 years because of her.
Oh my god.
Oh
please.
No.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Let me drop this out here. With the whole it ain't that deep. Whenever you hear it ain't that deep, for real though, please ignore the person that said it and continue on with your lives, because they will have you looking at them sideways, because I guess it makes them feel better to enjoy things at a base level. They don't want to have to think all the time. That's really what it is. It ain't that deep is a case of I'm not going to use my brain today in something. I've used my brain enough today. I went to work. I heard the news. Now I just want to watch something and tune out. If I can tune out long enough, it'd be fine. But there is also a case of people who are just like, I don't want to pay attention to stuff like that at all, which means in a case they may be apolitical, I guess. I don't know. But I know. I'm just like, a lot of that be like, I don't want to pay attention to that bad stuff. Let's just keep it good here. They running on vibes. I'll say it. I'll keep it at that. They running on good vibes and just ain't nothing going on. Or just my last
there's
quote
no
of the
war
day.
in Ba Sing Se.
Thank you. There you go. You got it. There's no war in Ba Sing Se. I was just about to say it.
Damn, I got to go back and watch Avatar.
Because I sure got the whole set over here right now. I looked at it too and I thought about it.
All your base are belong to us.
Devin, what you think, man? When people always just want to jump to it ain't that deep.
So I do think that some people they consume media at a base level, just like they enjoy it for what it is, like the visuals, sound, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, because people do the critique things on those levels. But as far as like storytelling is, if you go to the person that like created a story and they're telling a story, you tell them it's not that deep, it might be that deep, and that's probably the reason why it is that way. And you ask them like, "Hey, why'd you do this?" And they're more than likely going to give you an answer. Yeah, probably a long drawn out answer for the reason why something is the way they put in a story. I even look at something like Zom 100, which is like more work politics kind of.
Yeah,
you think about, man, like watching that, even like watching, like for all of us in here, we're in our 30s, so you watch something like Kaiju no Mei. That resonates with us a lot more. It is that deep because you see a protagonist that's usually we see the young shonen anime. This guy's in his 30s, right? He's dealing with life. He's dealing with like his dreams. He's still trying to accomplish. So we resonate there. So for us, it is that deep. So you look at something that's like has a political message. It is that deep sometimes. But back to Zom 100, this guy, he got out of school. He goes to this job and it sucks, and it's literally draining the life out of him.
That shit broke him so badly that he was like, I would rather all of society come to an end.
Yeah. And like for me personally, when I watched it, as a person that's has had a bunch of crappy jobs, and at a certain point, you just like, you go to jobs, you work hard, and it's like this job just sucks. Like they hit you deep. Like this job sucked. I don't want no zombie apocalypse, but it's like, man, sometimes you be like, it's all you can do to drag yourself out of the bed and go to that job because you hate it. Like it's just like every single you try to find redeeming things about it and you can't. So for certain people, it is that deep. There's a message there. There's definitely a message there. Like it's a very outlandish and a very outlandish and a very far-fetched example of somebody hating their job so much that they want a zombie apocalypse to happen. And when it happens, they're the happiest they've ever been. But even there's like deeper things after that. Once he like the apocalypse happens, he makes a list of things he wants to do. Then he meets another person and she has a list of 100 things of how to stay alive. So it's like a difference there. Like she's like, no, I'm trying to stay alive. He's like, well, if I die, I just want to do these 100 things before I die. So it's like that work politics of like most people can relate to that. You go to a job you hate just about every day, right? You might be making decent money. You might not be making decent money. That's deep for a lot of people. You can't escape that. Right. Sometimes it might feel bad for that realization to pop up when you're watching something that was intended to just be entertainment. But that's mostly TV and movies nowadays. You gonna tell Ryan Coogler that Sinners went that deep? You gonna tell people to go watch that movie that it went that deep? Come on now.
I mean, there are definitely people that watch it. I seen some dude and he just missed it. And I'm not gonna get into why, but he missed all the discussion about, the Black history and the Black culture and all of that. It just went all over his head, and he just mentioned some random vampire movie. It was like, oh man, now it wasn't as good as this, and I'm like, oh my god, you watched this with your eyes closed.
Like, I mean, even that had like a lot of religious stuff like in it. Like a kid is like struggling with this battle. Like, do I want to like try to follow the Lord and follow my dad's footsteps, but do I want to go do what I have a dream of doing? Like just little stuff like that. So a lot of times it has deeper meaning, even if you don't think it does. So I just feel like when people say it's not that deep, they just tend to just like keep those rose-colored glasses on and kind of keep it at a base level. Hey, I'm just looking at great visuals, great sound, whatever. But I mean, me personally, when I look at something, I'm looking for a good story. Like I want to have a good story, something there that's some meat on the bone. When I go watch a movie, like a horror movie, something, a thriller, after the movie's over, I'm thinking about, okay, what did this mean? What is it? Like if you consume media and you don't do that, I'm not gonna say it's weird, but I feel like you're kind of missing like some stuff. Cause like I leave something thinking about what did the author, writer intent here? What was this? What is that? That's how I like to consume media. So I just think they just want, hey man, explosions, boom, bang, like Will said, pow, man. He punched him in the mouth. Hey, it's a good movie, man. Let's go, man. This anime was great. Everybody got punched.
They was boxing in there.
It was boxing, man.
Yeah. Hands being thrown, feet being kicked. Amazing.
Even boxing animes have politics. Hajime Newport had a few politics. Megalobox, that you can always find a little smidgen of that,
Megalobox,
even in stuff with just hands being thrown.
Yep. Man, I'm gonna be honest. Y'all, not y'all, but like the general y'all are going. It's not that deep your way into some shit you can't get out of. All right.
Yeah.
So many people just don't want to think about anything for more than just 2 seconds. But the reality is, you do not luck your way into stories that connect with people of different countries, different genders, different lived experiences, different generations. No, that happened because someone put so much thought and was so passionate about it that it was that deep to them. That's the only way that you got there. And this idea that you think you can just cut your brain off, I'm not even sure that art can be all that interesting without saying something. I don't think it can be that good. Like even Dragon Ball Z, it does say something. It does have its own little messages that it's trying to give you. Hell, they even got like eco heroes and shit sometimes in there. Like it don't pretend like it's just that you can just mindlessly consume shonen or action anime and that there's nothing else to it. Like this shit is getting out of hand. Like even like Yu Yu Hakusho. You get into that. That was super. That shit had hella deep moments and political moments to it. Like the chapter Black, where since we watched that Black tape and like he blue screened and decided, hey man, humanity, it's just we was a mistake and it's just time to wipe all of humanity out. And if you get deeper into Yu Yu Hakusho, you get to the end of it, you find out at the end that King Emma, that Emma was like, actually a villain. And he was intentionally causing issues with people in the Demon Kingdom and using that as an excuse to take over and do more stuff over there. Like, I don't care what it is. Like, even something like John Wick. Like, when you think about John Wick, that was created by a stunt director. And so, like, the first thing you think of is like, oh, man, it's just about hands. It's just about people throwing hands. But, like, no. It took all of one extra movie. Like, once they got to that second movie, it's like, all these complex guilds and rules and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be a movie that you watch for the stunts, but they added a whole world of like who gets to break the rules when they want to break the rules and who has to obey the rules. Like all that stuff counts, man.
Not to mention the fact that you're getting into like the international aspects of the films as well. It's like John Wick goes to different countries, and anytime you're going from one country to the other, you have different politics.
Not just that, but just the rules. Really, anytime you talk about assassinations, you have gotten into the land of politics. Because who's getting killed? Why are they getting killed? Like, what is causing you to kill those people? Like, who did they make so angry, and who has enough power to pay somebody that is a professional killer to kill somebody? Like, you got to think about all that stuff comes into play. So, like, all that shit, and then like
Hunter.
Man,
like at the end specifically when Netero died and they were trying to figure out who was gonna be the next, they was in there arguing that, hey, no, me is. It's like, dang.
There was a ton of politics even before that in the Chimera Ant arc with like the way that the country that they were in and how that shit worked and like the previous ruler of that nation and how they got in depth into that. There's that's part of why people were turned off by the Chimera Ant arc, because there is so much dense narration where they're explaining the world and how the world works, and it's like, oh man, this is kind of dull. I just want some more hands being thrown. What's going on, Terrence?
That same criticism was thrown at Attack on Titan season 2, where that season is less about fighting Titans and more about humanity versus humanity, because you're finding out more about what's really going on inside the government. Like, who is the real enemy? That is the main theme of season 2 is who is the real enemy? It may not just be the Titans.
Yeah.
Even something like, and this is how it's like, man, you really do. And quite frankly, I don't want to turn my brain off because it takes away from the enjoyment that I can get out of certain shows. So even something like one of my favorite, well, not one of my favorite, but like it's in the top, I'd say 50 of my favorite anime, By the Grace of the Gods. It's like the ultimate relaxing anime. It's about a dude, he like lives in this other world and he just living the easy life. Yeah. Even that is like, you think that it's not political, but it's like, there's still political elements. It's like, first off, how did he get to that world and why is he living this easy life? And it turns out that he worked for like a black company, and he was constantly abused, and the people, his boss constantly took advantage of him and abused him like physically as well as like emotionally and shit. And eventually he got to this other world, and the gods of that new world were like, hey man, actually why is the God in y'all's world so fucked up? Like, it seems like he gets his enjoyment out of torturing y'all. And you specifically, it feels like he got a lot of his pleasure out of like trying to destroy and fuck up your life. And then like the anime doesn't quite get into this because it cuts off early, but the manga and the light novel actually do explain that, yeah, that God of the other world was particularly interested in like seeing how he could break that protagonist and turn him into like a killer, and he just never broke, and so he died instead. And so like that, and then like even the fact in this new world that he lives in, it's like a world where everybody wants the best for everybody, and it's always trying to help other people. Like that's like a political concept, because you get into the idea of like, well, that's not how real life works. Like in the real world, like not everybody is always going to do 100% of the job 100% of the time. Like that's not, people don't work like that. Some people just don't care, and there's nothing you can do to make them care, like no matter how fairly you treat them. And that's all those kinds of things that you just cut your brain off. And if you cut your brain off, you missing out on stuff like that. And I don't know, like I said, like you with what's going on in the world, not just in our country, but pretty much in every country right now, especially as like certain political leaders come into power, it's like, man, you need to keep your brain on. I'm not saying you got to look for a conspiracy around every corner, because actually that in itself, like if you constantly looking for a conspiracy, that's anti-intellectualist in itself, because you probably there was a real answer that you overlooked because you didn't want to use your brain enough. You just wanted to come up with some magic bullshit. But like, you need to be aware of what's happening around you and what's happening in the media around you. Like if you're not aware of what's happening in the media and the stories that are being told and the stories that are allowed to be told, if you're not paying attention to some shit like that, you won't know. You be like, man, what? Like the world used to be different. It used to feel different. Why does it feel so wrong now? Like compared to what it was when I grew up? And it's like, yeah, because you weren't paying attention, and there were battles happening all around you, and the media was trying to clue you into it, and you was like, man, you know, it's just a little movie. It's just a little anime. It was little cartoons on the screen. It's fine. Like, no, my guy.
It was a little scuffle.
Yeah, little scuffles. Like, no, my guy, pay attention to what's happening around you. Pay attention to what the creatives, like the people that do art, pay attention to what they're telling you, man, because they are often sometimes the people that are most free to make their points. So,
man, you even look at something like Redline. I thought about Redline. That's one of the craziest, wildest anime movies ever. There was still some politics going on behind the scenes with a lot of stuff. The reason why they were doing that race. Even like mech animes are some of the most political animes.
Man, you could have a whole episode just talking about politics and mech anime.
I can't even lie to you, man. If Sage talked earlier, I definitely was expecting at least a couple Gundam mentions thrown here and there. I was looking
because it goes without saying. If you can watch, I'm gonna say 95% of mecha anime and not pick up on the political intent behind it, hey man, just give it up. Just give up, man. Just cut on Zeus Network. Cut on your favorite reality show channel. Yeah. Don't try to attempt to watch nothing of any, like, not even Dragon Ball Z. I know people be like, well, Dragon Ball Z not that deep, even though we talked about some of the themes that it talks about. Not even that shit too deep for you. Cut it off, give it up, just go turn on some reality TV, turn on some quality trash, and that's all you are consigned to that. If you can watch mecha anime and not pick up on all the political elements that's in all of them, even the fantastical ones, it's like, yeah, even those have a lot of politics going on. So, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, like Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann is literally about the people at the bottom below the earth versus the people up top. And then when you get into the second half of the series, you find out there's some stuff going on intergalactically why that the people at the top were trying to keep the people at the bottom unaware of. But yeah, it's literally about the power of humanity and how no matter how much you try to press humanity, if humanity wants to, they can rise up. Like, row, row, fight the power. It's literally the song in Gurren Lagann.
Like something like, I know, at least on my side of Twitter, Macross has kind of broke out a little bit. And people have been talking about Macross because there's this one creator that's just been watching Mecha, and he started out with Gundam and now he's watching Macross, and Macross has become the big conversation. And even Macross, like, don't let the idea that like songs and culture can connect people across different environments, even if your environments are completely alien, they can still connect us. Like that shit that's a message, bro. You missed it. You like cut your brain off. You was too busy trying to be like, oh, they got idols singing songs. Isn't that stupid? Like, no, bro. Like, you gotta think about what's going on, what they telling you behind the underneath the surface, and you don't even have to dig that deep to find these connections. It's not like I'm putting a ton of thought. Like, I didn't go look that shit up. I didn't need no dissertation for that shit. Like, it's right. Easy when you like watch the show with your eyes open. Terrence, what about you, man? What's going on? You was the one that came up with this question.
So it ain't that deep. Let's look at like the origin of that. That was a response to like, it's one of those things where once again, the internet takes something
out of control.
It starts off as one thing and then it just runs off into a whole other direction. It's not that deep. It was literally just to use by people as a response to stuff that literally wasn't that deep. Like if a father posts a picture of him and his child and says that his child is his pride and joy, that's it. If somebody gets in the comments and being like, that's a lot of expectations to put on your child. Like, how dare you like put the world on this little kid? It's like, whoa, it's not that deep. Like, in that case, it isn't that deep. If you say something like the classic tweet, I love waffles, means you hate pancakes. Is not, you saying you love waffles does not mean you hate pancakes. That's a whole other sentence. It's not that deep. If somebody posts like some innocent meme that doesn't have any like political or it's just something that's silly, and somebody like comments like a whole paragraph saying, well, actually it relates to this and it relates to that. Like, look, it's not that deep. You get the idea. Like, that's literally what that saying was used for. In regards to anime, I think it just does a disservice to completely ignore an important aspect of this show that you claim to love. Like, that's the thing. If you claim that you really love something like Full Metal Alchemist, you can't just discard the whole plot about the government and all the political intrigue in it just because you want to see Edward Elric like clap his hands and do magic stuff. Like, that's in my opinion that's really disrespectful to the artists who spent their time crafting this world with its characters, its story, which is an important part of the series, and everything else that goes into it. You can't just watch the action of something, look at the explosions and all the surface level stuff and ignore the stuff that's happening underneath that. It's like, I'll go outside of anime just to give some other examples real quick. It's like watching or reading the X-Men and ignoring all the racism and xenophobic allegories that go into that.
People have indeed done that.
It's like been doing that.
It's like watching or reading Superman, ignoring the parallels of the message of an immigrant coming to a world and striving to be the best of all of us. Like,
people have done that.
It's like
there are people that are mad when you call Superman an immigrant, and I'm like, he literally can't be anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. He's coming from a world that's not ours.
He's literally an alien.
Yeah, he's literally an alien.
He literally crash landed into Kent's crops, bro.
Yeah. And he's not someone to be feared. He's someone that comes and he tries to be the best as a representation for everyone. Like, Superman is someone you should want to strive to be. You should strive to be as good as him despite his status as an immigrant. Like, that is important.
An illegal immigrant at that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then you have something like the Terminator series. Terminator isn't literally just about robots, fights, and Arnold saying, I'll be back. It's commentary on how humanity's pursuit of technology and trying to create life can possibly lead to its own undoing. Yep. Kind of like right now, how we have all these tech corporations trying to get so like knee deep into AI, and they don't know what they're really messing with. Like, they're just looking at it from like the money perspective of like, oh,
how much money it can make.
Yeah, we can make so much money from AI, but you're not looking at how this technology could potentially put people out of jobs. There's a lot that could go wrong. There's things that can go right with AI. I'm not saying that AI is inherently bad, but it's something that we do need to monitor and use it for good and not for evil. Going back to video games, imagine playing Metal Gear Solid and ignoring the massive amounts of political commentary those games make, and you just want to play it for the stealth. Are you kidding me?
Didn't the main villain of Revengeance, didn't he say, "I want to make America great again"?
And that was
Senator
before
Armstrong literally did that.
That was before Donald Trump.
That shit was in 2012.
First presidency.
That was before his first presidency. That was also during the time he was always talking about a bunch of war, PMCs, this, that, and the third. He was just going off.
Yo, man, I understand y'all like Kojima, but somebody tell that man stop making shit. Because he also make Death Stranding, and then we have like a pandemic that forced us to like disconnect from one another and shit. And he brought it up. He was like, I had to come up with something else because I felt like I predicted the pandemic, and that was not my goal. It's like, all right, bro, like,
okay,
and
stop coming up with shit.
And going back to anime, one of the anime that people claim is so brain dead, Solo Leveling. Even that anime has politics in it because you are dealing with, like, especially when they get in the second season, they look at how the different nations each handle gates.
Yep.
Yeah, and when they're trying to get together and handle a particular gate, is like you have the politics of that. You have Japan come in
that has rankings.
Yeah,
you're automatically talking about class stratification.
Yeah,
right.
And so, like, you look at the life that Sun Jin-woo was living before, when he just didn't. He was like an E-ranked hero. He was the weakest hero. And what Devin always say, the man didn't even have shoes. Like, you look at how he was then. Yeah. And then, like, immediately once he was able to like conquer dungeons solo, like when he was able to live out the title of the show, everything changed. Suddenly he was able to pay bills easy. Suddenly he was able to take care of his sister easier. Everything was easier for him.
Yeah. So, I mean, even the show that everybody says, like, oh, Solo Leveling, nothing but explosions and action and everything, that literally has a political angle to it. And, I mean, sure, you can ignore it, but it's part of the show. So, all in all, it ain't that deep in regards to politics and anime. It's just another way for you to bury your head in the sand and ignore the reality of what's going on in the world. Like all of you have mentioned, art is a mirror that artists use to convey their feelings about the world, even if that world is fictional. A lot of what they put into those stories, they draw parallels to real life. A lot of it is commentary on real life in just a different way. It's like you said, Sage, a lot of time artists create these stories as a way of making social or political commentary without outright saying it. It's like there's a difference between me just outright saying I want to go against the government versus making a story like One Piece where you have a character like Luffy going against the government. Well, he does outright say it. I was going to say without outright saying it, but he does outright say it. But yeah, there's a difference.
Luffy saying it and between Luffy saying the government is corrupt versus like you saying the government is corrupt. Like, I made a story where I talked about a corrupt government and how governments can easily be corrupted. That's different. So, like, yeah, I mean, they are two different things, and it can be easier to get your message across via the story than you just outright saying it.
Yeah. Even look at the latest Superman movie that came out in July. A lot of people looked at that, and it told a story of how Superman is striving to be the best of us, and even talked about how can we just sit and watch this war going on and not do something about it? And like Superman's play, like how does Superman come into play when it comes to international politics? He's residing in America, but can he do stuff in another country and that not cause problems with him being being in America or being a citizen of America? So yeah, there's so much discussion there's so much that happens in these stories that we have to have discussions about. It's like Devin said, I like to do that too. When movies come out and I watch them, one of the first things I like to do after watching a movie is talk with my friends about who watched it with me. Like, hey, what did you think of it? I like to go online, see how people are thinking about the story. Like, it is important to have discussion about these shows, whether they involve politics or not. You shouldn't just turn off your brain and just let the images flash in front of you. Because here's the thing, if you turn off your brain, if everybody in the world just turns off their brain, the people who do have their brains on, they're going to be the ones in power. And what they determine
you don't think, someone else will think for you.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, you put into simpler words than I guess what I was gonna say. So yeah.
My bad, bro. That's just something that I came up with a long time ago. Me and Rakeem, we was talking, and I was like, yeah, man, that's really the gist of it. If you don't think, someone else will do your thinking for you.
And you know what? I'll conclude with this. This is something that Philip DeFranco says, and I 100% agree with it. You may not fuck with politics, but politics will fuck with you.
1,000%.
1,000%.
Hey, man. Fuck all this. We do all this nice shit. The show is running a little short, so let me help y'all out just a little bit.
Oh, a little short.
A little bit. It's 55 minutes. That's still kind of short compared to like the last 90 minutes ones or 80-minute ones we've been doing. I'm not gonna go on for no 25 fucking minutes, maybe 5. Let's see. Let's rip this damn Band-Aid off. Look, man, some of this shit that is not political has turned political because y'all made it political, right? Like there's some shit that should not be a discussion, and like Ghost of Yote, the new Ghost of Yote, when that shit came out, and it's just like a female samurai hunting down people that betrayed her family, that destroyed her family as a child. Right. That in itself is a political story, and like the story within it is political, but y'all made extra shit political that didn't have to be. Like in 2010 or 2012, if you had told that story with that character looking that way, it would not have been political. Now suddenly she got to come out here with full beat face and her titties out, and she got to have double fucking D's. And that is in itself, it's a commentary like what you find attractive first off and why you find it attractive. Like society, you find things attractive because society told you they were attractive. Like, yeah, there's some things that you personally make that connection to, but a lot of times it comes off of like what society told you was attractive. And then just the fact that you like, no, she gotta look like this, like that stupid fucking meme that's been going around. People been making fun of like, oh, Ghost of Yote, it feels Ghost of Yote made by activists versus Ghost of Yote made by real gamers. Like, first off, fuck you, bitch. I've been a fucking real gamer since 1998. I don't want to hear that shit from y'all. All right, I got more years in the game than you, so I don't want to hear that. But secondly, like, it said something in itself that it wasn't good enough. Like, first off, y'all mad that y'all were mad that a woman was in the game. Y'all were mad that like why we got all these female protagonists. 10, 15 years ago, that was not a storyline. You just came out with those games and that was the end of it. Now, every time you use a black person, like, and it's starting to affect the way developers see it, mostly because they fucking cowards.
Talk to them.
Yeah, you know where I'm going. It's starting to affect the developers, mostly because they fucking cowards, but still, they out here like, oh, we can't make a game about a freed black slave killing all the Klans members. Who the fuck? That's the most generic fucking villain. I'm sorry, but Klans members and Nazis they're not protected classes. They're just generic bad guys. And 15 years ago, people would be like, oh, man, the fucking Nazis again. Like, come up with something with some teeth. Like, y'all do this because everybody's like, yeah, the Nazis suck or the Klansmen suck. Like, you're not really doing nothing. You're not making a political statement. And yet, now here we are in 2025, and it is a political statement. It is pissing people off. What if you allowed to happen? Because you just decided that everything is not that deep. And now we've got a society in which people that should not feel comfortable voicing their opinions because they're fucking abhorrent feel comfortable voicing their opinions. And now corporations are scared because they're like, oh, man, how many people would we make angry? Like, what? Like, effectively, like that Assassin's Creed game that got canceled, because that's what I'm referencing. If you don't know, like there was supposed to be an Assassin's Creed game. The next really. The next mainline Assassin's Creed was supposed to be about a freed slave going around killing Klans members. And like they apparently were so terrified of the backlash they got from Assassin's Creed Shadows, even though apparently that was their second best-selling game of all time. So I'm like, bitch, what backlash? Like, you just gonna make the same amount of money, if not more. So like, and like, do you know how many black people would have bought that off the strength?
Man, there were so many people that I saw on Twitter talking about how there was such a missed opportunity. They would have bought it just on principle.
Like,
that's not the epitome of saying if it's not that deep. Like, well, why couldn't they make the game then?
Why couldn't they make that game?
If it's not that deep, why can't we play that game?
If
like,
talk to them, why you not
it's just a video game?
Like, I don't get, like, do you know how many black people that don't even necessarily fuck with Assassin's Creed, they would have been like, you do what in that game? Oh yeah,
Good.
I'm buying that game just off the strength of it. And the idea of like, oh well, you know, we don't want to offend the wrong people. The wrong people would be Klansmen.
Yes.
Why do you care about offending them? Like, don't let these people fool you. Like, in that game, you would have been killing Klansmen. You're not killing white people. Yes, Klansmen, all Klansmen are white people, but not all white people are Klansmen. So, like, that's not what would have been happening. There would be no people that's worth saving when you killing Klansmen. Like, that's not something like, oh, I feel sorry for the No, I don't. They're monsters. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, 15 years ago, everybody would have been like, this kind of a toothless game that you putting out, because, like, of course, like, make it like people would have called on you to do something more bold. And now we live in a society where you have to do less bold. Like, what was once considered not bold at all is now considered bold, and too bold for $1 billion company like Ubisoft to take a risk on. That's crazy. And, like, that's what I mean by y'all have turned things that were not political into politics. Like, having a black protagonist in 2000 would not have been political. I mean, a little bit, because there were, like, I mean, if we talking about Ubisoft, their creator at one point, well, not their creator, but like one of the higher ups at Ubisoft was like, hey, look, all I want is a straight white male as a protagonist. I remember that headline. I'll never forget it, because I was like, damn, because apparently he threw like a temper tantrum when they suggested like making a woman or something like that. He was like, a straight white male. That's all I want. Like, so, I mean, behind the scenes, there's always a little bit of elements of politics to that. But like in front of the screen, in front of the camera, most people would have been like, oh, cool, a black protagonist. All right. Like, either you would have felt more excited about it because you would have identified with that because you got it so rarely, which in itself is political. But like, or you would have been like, yeah, I mean, like, that's a change of pace. Like, I'm down for it. Why not? Yeah. And now we've gotten to a point where any protagonist that isn't gruff white man is like, oh man, look, what group, what agenda are they trying to bend towards? Like, look what you allowed to happen, you know? And I just want y'all to think about that when you look at what games come out and like how the people react to it. And in fairness, some of this is just dorks online. Some of this is just the terminally online commenting about the even more terminally online. Because like regular people, like, I mean, like I said, like you saw how Assassin's Creed Shadows sold. It was like the second best selling Assassin's Creed game of all time. I don't know where the sales are now, but I don't assume that they let up that much. So I'm sure it's still doing pretty well, because the average person probably doesn't care. But I mean, like, you also have to be careful, because like revolutions have been caused by like 10% of the population. Like in a lot of countries, not just our country, in a lot of countries, like it only takes 10 to 14% of the population to be like, hey man, we gonna move in this direction, or we gonna move in that direction. So you do have to be careful about like the terminally online, like how many of them are there really? So all things just to think about, and I just couldn't let it go. Like, we was being so diplomatic about everything, and I'm like, man, look, fuck that. Dipset. Let's Dipset. Fuck that. Like, let's just go ahead and get cut right to it for a little bit.
Fair enough,
man.
But all right, man, that's gonna wrap this week's episode up. If you're new to us and like this episode, I need you to do me a few favors. I need you to hit that like button. I need you to subscribe. I need you to tell your friends about us, and I need you to do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.